The internet is losing their minds because a Microsoft Xbox exclusive could be coming to PlayStation. Could be. We don't even know yet. So you might have seen the GameFile report, but Jeff Grubb is also reporting this. Basically, Sea of Thieves could be coming to the PlayStation console. I'm going to read through some of the stuff that Steven Totillo is reporting here. He says Microsoft has looked into launching its hit Xbox and PC multiplayer pirate game Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. A source familiar with plans for the port tells GameFile. Microsoft previously released 2 externally developed games in the Ori series on Nintendo Switch sometime after their original release on Xbox and PC, and the company regularly releases games in its Minecraft franchise simultaneously across Xbox, PC, PlayStation, and Switch. Now, this news comes very shortly after we learn that Hi-Fi Rush could potentially also be coming to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. Let's keep reading this story because there's a really notable point about how many players currently play the game coming right up. Reporter Jeff Grubb also mentioned this morning that he'd heard about Sea of Thieves to PS5 and Switch. I'd only heard about PlayStation, possibly for an early 2024 release, and have been trying to source it more extensively since then. I am unable to verify if Sea of Thieves to PlayStation is still an active plan for Microsoft. Now, luckily for y'all, I actually have that quote from our unofficial producer, Idle Sloth, over here on the Destin YouTube channel. Idle Sloth is great. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. He's great for Xbox news. Let's check him out. Let's check out what he clipped out here from Jeff Grubb.
It's like Sea of Thieves, right? I'll say I've heard that was one that might be coming to other platforms. So when I first started hearing these rumors, I was like, oh, this is probably about Sea of Thieves, because I've heard that could come to Switch and PlayStation, and maybe that might be the kind of thing where it's like actually all of this stuff is happening, and Microsoft is trying to like rejigger its strategy, and that kind of comes back to the point that you were making that we should expect more of this.
A lot of people are really upset about this. There's this worry about a loss of console exclusives. And for me, I don't think it's that much to worry about. Granted, we all liked Hi-Fi Rush quite a bit. It was definitely a game that the industry rallied behind and really supported. But is it going to PlayStation going to be like a huge blow? Like if you compare it to something like Stray, I don't know if Stray came to Xbox off the top of my head, but let's say hypothetically Stray came to Xbox. Is that a huge blow for PlayStation? I don't think so. Or what was that other game in 2023? I don't know. There was another, Fist came to Xbox this year. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Sea of Thieves, however, I will say is more notable. Now, here's a reason why Microsoft might do it, though. Sea of Thieves, which Rare regularly expands with new content updates, has drawn more than 30 million players, according to Microsoft. 30 million is a lot of players. That is a lot more than the 100,000 subscribers that I have. But if I want that to continue growing, you should hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Sorry, I got a kick out of my dumb jokes about the subscriber thing. Started it when we were going to 100K. Past 100K, keep it going. But anyway, 30 million players according to Microsoft. Now, let's say they launch Sea of Thieves on the PlayStation 5. That's another 50 million users that could potentially start playing the game. Maybe they change how the monetization in the game works. Who knows what they're going to do, but point is, that's a whole lot more players brought into the Sea of Thieves ecosystem. It makes sense for that game because it is a multiplayer game, in my opinion. And I do think that I think it would work. I don't know. I don't think this is that big of a deal. I think the bigger concern is people are like, oh, they're going to bring Starfield and everything else. And to me, Phil Spencer has been pretty clear about the idea of bringing single player experiences to other platforms or ecosystems, and right now the answer is no. But there's worry like the Xbox console is going to go away, they're going to get out of the console market. They've been very clear that they lost the console race. They've said that many times. Even here where Steven Still highlights in November, Xbox Chief Financial Officer Tim Stewart said the company's goal is to get Game Pass, Microsoft's popular all you can play subscription service, onto every screen that can play games. But in December, Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, said the company has no plans to bring Xbox Game Pass to PlayStation and Nintendo. In 2019, Spencer told me that Xbox games arriving on competing platforms would ideally be part of a connected ecosystem. In that regard, he cited Xbox Live, not necessarily Game Pass. So a lot has changed since those statements were made. Satya Nadella no longer ties his compensation to Xbox Game Pass sales. I had that tab open for like a million years, and now it's relevant, and of course I closed it. But this story, you have to remember, comes on top of the Hi-Fi Rush story. So all of this is sort of happening right now, right? There's a rumored Xbox Developer Direct that's going to be happening any day now, and it's a perfect place for all of this news to happen. Don't want to listen to Destin? Okay, here's Matt Piscatella, who we've talked about many times on the channel, executive director and video game industry analyst at Circana. You don't like Pactor? Here's what Matt Piscatella has to say, braving the discourse to say, in my opinion, if the current rumor of the now Xbox exclusive going to Switch is true, it will have absolutely zero impact to the sales curve of either console. The consoles are still going to sell. I don't think this is an indication that Microsoft is going to get out of the console business, because at the end of the day, let's say they've sold 30 million and PlayStation has sold 50 million. That's still a lot of sales that you would be leaving on the table. I don't think they get fully out. I think they continue developing for the console. So all the reactions online, the internet is very up in arms about this, and they're very concerned just based on the responses to my few tweets about how I'm not worried about it at all. Xbox also put this out. Some people are saying this is like Loki talking about new year, new energy in bread in our new toaster. Have you seen it? Activision Blizzard King, first party games, playing more indie games and console love. Out toast popping out of our new toaster. Outside grass you can touch if you want. Disliking a game you've played for hundreds of hours. That's throwing shade at people who played Starfield for like hundreds of hours and then gave it a bad rating. Blaming your connection for your KD, that one's not out. No, I have to hold on to that one. But also console wars. So people feel like that's them testing the waters, sort of getting ready to soften the blow for what could be coming any moment now in the form of an announcement that these games are going to other platforms. I think this is a big overreaction by the internet. And I think most people are reacting sensibly. Like here's Andy Robinson answering a question. Why aren't Xbox players playing PlayStation and Nintendo games on Xbox? No exclusives for anyone would be great, but it can't be just one side giving all the time, because Switch and PlayStation consoles sell about 3 to 5 times more than Xbox. Microsoft rightly has a different strategy. This is the reality it's operating in, and it is. Those games are probably going to sell at least a little bit on those competing platforms. And I'm going to get roasted for this. I don't think it's a loss at all. More players to play with in Sea of Thieves, that sounds awesome. It would be like, I don't know, let's say Destiny was PlayStation exclusive and then it suddenly came to Xbox. That would be great, right? Tear down those walls. Let's do this. Today's Sea of Thieves X PlayStation discourse inspired this slide. Xbox is a wide and varied ecosystem led primarily by content and services. Xbox's biggest first-party games are also offered on competing platforms, benefiting both Microsoft and its rivals. Think about how much money PlayStation is going to have to pay them for Call of Duty now. This is going to be good news for Microsoft. So I don't know if my little thing works. Yeah, it doesn't work on Twitter. Well, I'll just read it to you. Broad reach to all major endpoints. I wish it would open the image. I'll just read it to you in this. Can I make it larger? All right, there. That works, whatever. Broad reach to all major endpoints, console, PC, mobile, cloud. Xbox is a dedicated ecosystem of console and PC hardware, software, and services. It's also a third-party publisher that distributes some of the industry's most popular video games to rival Sony and Nintendo. Content and services is Xbox's North Star. I agree with that sentiment and guess. Slate of mega hit games and multi-platform subscription services lead the charge. Emphasis on online-driven multiplayer games that have in-game purchases, introducing new monetization models on PC and console, multi-tiered subscriptions, and advertising. And if you look, the green section is growing, right? And this is traditional sales, I'm guessing. And this is the part that seems to be expanding, unless I'm reading this wrong. But anyway, I really don't think it's anything to be concerned about. Here's a few like people reacting to it. Tom Henderson, end of 2023, PlayStation is dying. Start of 2024, Xbox is dying. This community, man, yeah, the X community is a bit all over the place. Nick Calandra over at Second Wind. This is the EIC of that group that like massively left The Escapist. If a game's primary revenue driver, a la Sea of Thieves, is microtransactions, I see no reason why it shouldn't go multi-platform. Heck, I think every game that's primarily a multiplayer title should be multi-platform if you want to keep the lights on for more than a year. So what if the options are, okay, we'll shut down Sea of Thieves because it's not making enough money, or let's strike a partnership deal with PlayStation and make it happen. I'm all for the PlayStation deal happening. Some people like Daniel Ahmad saying, just found out more people might be able to play Xbox games. It really bothers me to see the reaction about this story. And the reason it bothers me is because I have both consoles. I recognize that I'm in a bit of a privileged situation, but PlayStation players being able to play more games, I think that's good news. If Spider-Man magically showed up on Xbox, I would be happy. Or like I'm happy that Fist is over on Xbox. And that's just that you probably don't even know what game I'm talking about, right? It was a smaller game. It launched as a PlayStation exclusive, and now it's Xbox. I'm happy that both console owners got to play Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop. Granted, Xbox ended up getting it later, but things are just changing in terms of how it all rolled out. That's my take on the whole situation. I think it's going to be a spicy comment section, but I'm personally not concerned about it. I'd love to hear why you are in the comments below. And I am in no way saying that like your feelings or thoughts aren't justified. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact. I think it has no negative impact whatsoever. I think it's only going to be good for Microsoft. It's going to keep the lights on for a lot of these games, and it's going to bring in a lot more money for Microsoft, which means more tentpole exclusives. Like an increased revenue stream seems good to me. That's what I think. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you like this video, or just go to the comments to argue with me about my take here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to the members. If you want to support this channel, you can click that join button right down there. And if you don't do that, if you're a member, thank you, first of all. But you're not going to want to miss the story yesterday where I covered off on what is going on with Hi-Fi Rush. You're not going to want to miss that. See you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.